Hello everyone, and welcome to the Craft Along program with Quest Nature Center. My name is Christine, and I'll be crafting with you today. Let me show you what we're doing. Today's theme is pumpkins, and I have 3 different crafts to share with you. Our first and easiest craft is a pop-up paper pumpkin. It folds flat, so when you need to store it somewhere, you can, but when you're ready for some decoration, take it out, pop it open, and you have a pumpkin. Our second craft is also pretty easy and just as fun. It's a hanging pumpkin decoration made out of paper and string. Our third craft is a little bit harder than our first 2, so this might be an adults only one. It's a yarn and styrofoam pumpkin. Each of our crafts today will involve sharp tools like scissors and knives. So if we have any young crafters working with us today, make sure you have an adult nearby to help you out. Let's get started. Okay everyone, let's get started with the first craft, the pop-up paper pumpkin. Remember this one? It folds flat and then pops open for a really nice table decoration. First, take your scrap paper and fold it in half hamburger style. Hamburger style means the paper looks nice and fat. Grab your pencil and you're going to draw a little half circle onto this paper with the fold in the middle here. So let's get ourselves a nice half circle here. Make mine a little bit uncircly in the middle there and bring it down to the edge. Now, if we have any young crafters with us today, this is where I want you to grab an adult because we're going to use scissors to cut out this half circle. We're going to be very careful and keep our fingers away from the scissors blades so we don't cut ourselves. I'm just going to cut that out nice and easy. Put scissors to the side and recycle our scrap paper. All right, now you want to grab those colored pieces of paper and we're going to fold those in half, kind of like we did with our scrap paper. Now, if you drew your pumpkin small enough, you might be able to fit 2 of them onto one page. What you're going to do is slide them on just like that. We have the fold, and we're sliding them together. And we're going to use that half circle from scrap paper as a stencil. We're just going to trace that onto our paper here. And we need to make 6 of these. Now, as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my orange pumpkin pieces. And we're going to start with these 2 pieces and our glue stick. Okay. What we want to do is this is the folded side on each piece. Let's line them up to make sure that they match all the edges. Looks good to me. What about you? We're going to take our glue stick and we are going to put glue on one side of our pumpkin. Remember, we have the fold right here, and right now it kind of looks like a taco. So we're going to put the glue on the outside of the taco. Now, for my younger crafters and their parents, I like this colorful glue. It's purple, so I can see where I've put my glue. It helps me remember where I've got my glue, so I don't need to go over those edges again. And I'm going to take this piece. Remember, this pumpkin piece doesn't have any glue on it yet. And I am going to put it right on top, lining up the edges. And now here's the fun part. You can smooth it down gently, or you can smash it. Either way, you just want to make sure it's sticking together. We're going to grab another pumpkin piece here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick this up and gently open it like you would with a book. Remember, this is the last piece we put on, so this outside piece doesn't have any glue on it, and it's not glued to anything. It's one piece of paper. we flip it over, this was our first pumpkin piece. So this outside piece, no glue on it, it's one piece of paper. Here's what we're gonna do, you guys. Grab our glue stick, hope it all sticks together, and we are gonna put some glue on the outside of that taco. Oop, my glue stick is almost dead, but I think we're just gonna make it. Put that over to the side, and we're gonna fold that over and smooth it down. Being very gentle because remember, your glue is still drying. You can open this up and see you have what is a very nice start of a pumpkin. We're gonna grab that green pipe cleaner and our pencil to make the vine for our pumpkin. It's really easy. You're just gonna take your green pipe cleaner, hold it with 2 fingers on your pencil, and wrap it around. You can make the curlies all tight together or space them out a little bit, kind of like I'm doing. And then we're just gonna slide the pencil out. And you have a little curly cue there. Bring your pumpkin up, and you can see where all the pieces came together. There's just a little hole. That's why you want a little pipe cleaner, not a big fat chunky one. We're gonna slide the edge of that pipe cleaner right down the middle of that hole. And it should, don't force it in, be very gentle. You can squish it in there, and ta-da! We have ourselves a pumpkin. Now, my pumpkin's a little bit tippy, so maybe what I want to do is come back with some scissors and trim the bottom just a little bit so it's flat. Let's see how that does. I'm gonna, oh, I think that's gonna work great. There we go. Paper pumpkin. Awesome job, you guys. Let's move on to our next craft. All right, guys, let's move on to our second craft. This was the hanging pumpkin ornament. For this craft, you're going to need orange construction paper, 1 to 2 pieces, green paper, only 1 piece, and brown paper, only 1 piece. You're also going to need a ruler, scissors, a pencil, a stapler, and string or yarn. Now I'm using just plain yarn or plain string here, but you can use whatever color you want. You're the artist, it's your choice. Let's put these to the side for just a moment. And we're gonna start with our orange piece of paper. Grab your ruler and grab your pencil. Now, my young crafters, you might want an adult's help for this because we're gonna do some measuring with our ruler on our piece of paper. We're going to create these lines. We have a bunch of different lengths measured on this paper. We have 1 6-inch bar, 2 7-inch bars, 2 9-inch bars, and 2 11-inch bars. Go ahead and measure these out on your piece of orange paper. I'll do that too. Let's go ahead and cut out our strips. My young crafters, this would be a great place to get your parents' help, especially when we are cutting out straight pieces of paper and using scissors. Being very careful not to cut my fingers. I have all this paper left over, and if you didn't scribble on this paper, you can save it for another craft, or if you did scribble on it, you can save it as scrap paper, or if you don't want to save it, you can recycle it. So we have a 6-inch strip, just one, 2 7-inch strips, 2 9-inch strips, and 2 11-inch strips. All right, let's grab our stapler. And we're gonna make a paper sandwich. Sounds funny, but it's what we're doing. Grab your 6-inch strip. Take one of the 7 inches and put it on top, lining up the edges so they match. Grab a 9-inch strip. Do the same thing, but put it on top of the 7 inches and line up the edges. Grab an 11-inch strip and put it on top of the 9 inches. So what we have here is we have the 6, the 7, the 9, the 11. We're going to flip it over so the 6 stays in the middle. We're going to put 7 on top of it. We're going to put the other 9 on top of that 7. And we're going to put the 11 on top of that 9, making sure all of our edges on one end match together. You are going to staple right at the edge there. See how my staple is right there in the middle at the edge? You don't want to go too far down, or else your pieces of paper won't be able to bend right. Now, here's another tricky bit. So young crafters, grab another set of hands, probably an adult. We are going to make these edges that haven't been stapled yet all line up together. I have an 11-inch and a 9-inch here. When I make the edges match up, you can see the paper bends. We're gonna get the 7 in there and the 6. So I have 4 pieces of paper there. The edges all match up, but the paper is all bendy now. And we're gonna come around to the other side. This is where it's good to have an extra set of hands. While you hold it, if you have that extra set of hands, get them to staple that edge for you. Just like that. So all the edges are matched together. You have a staple in the middle and you have a pumpkin. But you know what this pumpkin is missing? It needs a stem and some leaves. I went ahead and cut out a stem earlier from some scrap paper I had. It doesn't have to be very big because your pumpkin isn't very big. Go ahead and grab your green paper. What you want to do is you want to fold it in half and you want to draw a leaf on it. Now this is really important. Your leaf needs to have a stem. See how I put a stem on there? Because when you cut it out, just like magic, I already had it cut out, you're going to need to be able to bend that stem so it sticks to the wood stem and onto your pumpkin. So I have 2 leaves. I'm going to take my pencil and curl the paper around it just to give it a little volume there. Just like we did in the other craft with the pipe cleaner. I'm just curling it around the pencil, pull my pencil out, and now I have a curly stem. Like that. And again, it's good to have an extra set of hands here so you can bring in your stapler without everything falling apart and staple it. Now, you can leave it like this if you want, or if you want it to be a hanging ornament, grab your string, pull out a piece of string a couple of inches long as you want it to be. Cut it and grab that stapler one more time and staple it all together. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. You can sort of see that stapled on there and it hangs. And there you go, a hanging pumpkin ornament. All right, everyone, it's time for our last craft of the video. It's our styrofoam and yarn pumpkin. Now remember, this one is a little bit tougher and it involves some sharp tools like scissors and knives. So this might be an adults only craft. Let's start by taking our styrofoam ball and our knife. You might want to lay down a cutting board or some paper so you don't cut your table or get styrofoam everywhere. What you want to do is you want to take a little bit off the top so it's flat, and we're going to take a larger piece off the bottom so it sits flat. There we go, a larger piece off the bottom so it looks like a pumpkin. That piece may have been a little bit too large, so try taking off a little bit less. Put that knife aside for a minute, grab your pencil and your ruler. What we're going to do is we're going to make a hole through the middle of your pumpkin here. Now, I've got, this is, let's see. This is about just under 2.5 inches wide up top where I've cut it. So I want to make a hole that's maybe an inch around. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it's not. Again, nature is not perfect. So I'm just gonna draw myself a little guideline there. There we go. You can see I've got a little hole there. Now this is the other bit that might take some time. You're gonna take your knife and you're gonna cut out that hole. All right, our crazy donut is done. Let's clean up some of this mess. Okay, now what you wanna do is grab one of your plastic yarn needles and you're gonna grab your chunky yarn without the styrofoam on it. You wanna measure a piece of chunky yarn that's 2 to 3 arm lengths long. So I've got a really big piece here. And we're gonna thread it through our plastic yarn needle. Now, depending on how chunky your yarn is, this might be a little difficult. So just be patient and try not to unravel your yarn too much, but it should pull through. Give yourself a nice tail there. And we've got our tail at the end here. We're going to take our needle and we are going to send it through the middle of our wacky styrofoam donut. And we're going to pull it through and leave ourselves a tail of about an inch, 2 inches there. Hold on to that because we're gonna come back around. Remember, this is where we came out at. And we're gonna drop our needle back through the middle. Pull the yarn through, making sure the tail that we left out goes underneath the yarn that we're pulling through. So here's our tail. Turn that so you can see. Here's our tail. Here's the yarn we're pulling through now. See how it crosses and holds that tail down? Pull that yarn tight. And now comes the really time-consuming part. You're gonna do that over and over and over again. And there are a couple of different ways you can do this. You can layer this like you did with the original tail, or you can do what I like to do. Because I like to add a little texture to my pumpkins, I tie off the edges and I leave the little knot, and you can cover it up if you want, or you can leave it sticking out. So like I said, you can either layer this tail like you did your first, or you can tie it off with just a little knot. You can use any kind of knot you want. I'm gonna trim that excess there. There we go. And we're gonna thread that needle again and keep going. The one that I have over here, let me just grab it real quick. You can see I actually have not finished it completely because I wanted to show you guys what it looks like once you're getting near the end. This is the reason you need to make that hole so big, because as you put more and more yarn through the hole, it's going to be harder and harder to get that needle all the way through. I went back through also because I thought it looked a little bit like an apple with that golden a golden yarn, and I went through with some extra orange yarn I had and gave it the little veins that you see on pumpkins. You don't have to do that. That was just an addition I made. Now, one extra piece, extra supply I did not mention that you're gonna need a branch from your yard. Any old stick, make sure it's dry, and make sure it's one you can break easily, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna break off a piece, a very small piece. You're gonna take that knife of yours, or if you have a better knife, you might wanna use that, and shave down the ends just a little bit. So the end comes to a bit of a point, whittle it down, and you're going to take that end and just sort of wiggle it into that hole, and you have a styrofoam and yarn pumpkin. Pretty neat, huh? Thanks for joining me today at Quest Nature Center for our Craft Along program. I hope you had as much fun as I did, and I can't wait to see what you guys make next. Be sure to join in next time when we'll have a brand new nature craft to share with you. Bye!